creams were swamped with all kinds of remedies from psychologists, allergists, herbalists, nutritionists, psychics, an old medicine man, and even a veterinarian. Each so-called cure only added to poor Camilla's strange appearance until it was hard to even recognize her. She had sprouted roots and berries and crystals and feathers and a long furry tail, but nothing worked. One day, a woman who called herself an environmental therapist claimed that she could cure Camilla. "Close your eyes," she said. "Breathe deeply and become one with your room." "I really wish you wouldn't have said that," Camilla groaned. Slowly, she started to melt into the walls of her room. Her bed became her mouth, her nose was a dresser, and two paintings were her eyes. The therapist screamed and ran from the house. "What are we going to do?" cried Miss Cream. "It just keeps getting worse and worse."
Her nose is a dresser.
Hayden, are you still happy?
No.
Her entire room is her. There's her mouth, nose, and eyes.
Sad now. I'm scared. I'm gonna cry.
At that moment, Mr. Cream heard a quiet little knock at the front door. He opened it, and there stood an old woman who was just as plump and sweet as a strawberry. "Excuse me," she said brightly, "but I think I can help."
That's a dog. That's a dog. It's a grandma.
She went into Camilla's room and looked around. "My goodness," she said with a shake of her head, "what we have here is a bad case of the stripes. One of the worst I've ever seen." She poured a container of small green beans from her bag. "Here," she said, "these might do the trick." "Are those magic beans?" asked Miss Cream. "Oh my, no," replied the kind old woman. "There's no such thing. These are just plain old lima beans. And I bet you'd like some, wouldn't she asked Camilla. Camilla, wanting a big, heaping plate full of lima beans, more than just about anything, but she was still afraid to admit it. "Yup," she said, "no one likes lima beans, especially me." "Oh dear," the old woman said sadly, "I guess I was wrong about you." She put the beans back in her bag and started towards the door. Camilla watched the old woman walk away. Those beans would taste so good, and being laughed at for eating them was nothing compared to what she was going through. She finally couldn't stand it. "Wait," she cried. "The truth is, I really love lima beans." "I thought so," the old woman said with a smile. She took a handful of beans and popped them into Camilla's mouth. Said Camilla. Suddenly the branches, feathers, and squiggly tails began to disappear. Then the whole room swirled around. When it stopped, there stood Camilla, and everything was back to normal. "I'm cured," she shouted. "Yes," said the old woman. "I knew the real you was in there somewhere." She patted Camilla on the head, then she went outside and vanished into the crowd. Afterwards, Camilla wasn't quite the same. Some of the kids at school said that she was weird, but she didn't care a bit. She ate all the lima beans she wanted, and she never had a touch of the stripes again.
Yay.
Or lima beans, there's a type of bean. They're like straight green.
Like green beans.
Them plate them.
Oh.
They're shaped funny and they're bright green.
Oh,
She must like some lima beans. She must love some lima
She
beans.
must love them, but why didn't she want to eat them?
Because she might got.
Because she wanted to fit in with
Because
other
she wanted to
kids.
fit in. Okay. So, do you remember cause and effect and what cause and effect means? Ainsley?
Cause is like why it happened, and effect is
Okay, what she said was the cause is why something happened, and the effect is what happened because of something that you do. I want you to put your name on this sheet. I want you to try to fill out the cause and effect worksheet, and if you need help, raise your hand. I'll be walking around. You can stop it right here if you want to, and then we'll just